Hi, guys. Welcome to our Embello Back to School webinar series. I am Clara Hannenberg, the Director of Partnerships at Embello. We are an influencer marketing agency that's niche in home and lifestyle. And we're so excited to welcome you here to our first ever Back to School webinar series. Today, I'm so excited to have Kyla with us from House of Hipsters, where she's been blogging since 2013 and became a full-time content creator in 2017. She's based in Chicago. And so we're really excited to have her dive deep into, how to perform content the best on TikTok. And, you know her probably for her home decor, her alternative aesthetic, her styling, elevated styling tips and tricks, and also her inspiring DIYs. So we're really excited to have Kyla dive deep into TikTok with us today. I'm here also with our co-host. She is Liza Kors, our co-founder of Embello, and she will be here with us today to help out when needed. So we're just really excited. I will let Kyla kick us off and tell us everything we need to know about TikTok, the only tutorial you'll need.
Well, hopefully I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks about how to even just get started, or if you are started, how to, just improve that strategy. So let's dive right in. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. So yes, everything today is TikTok, and you see it in the news. It's not going away. It is here to stay, and it's only going to get bigger. What you're seeing on the screen right here is one of my first TikToks that I ever published that had to do more with home decor. It is me and my friend Ursula from Homemade Carmona. Wow, just totally like Homemade Carmona, and Sabrina Soto joined us, and we got a whopping 18 likes, and I was like so excited. But this platform has gotten me featured in Clever, Fast Company, HGTV, Cosmopolitan, Architectural Digest, and Architectural Digest named me best home and design TikTok account to follow, which is insane. So because of TikTok, there's no other way that I really would have probably gotten featured in these places. And that's something that money just can't buy. So that it's been really amazing. So let's get into this. Like I said, it's not going away. But I think one of the most profound things that I heard recently is that it's becoming a search engine, and it's a bigger search engine now than Google, which is crazy. In 2021, it became the most used or the highest hit as far as traffic goes, and it surpassed Google. Now, I don't know about you, but like my homepage on my laptop and on my computer is Google. So you got to think that every time you're opening your laptop, you're hitting that and possibly using that. And that is getting surpassed by TikTok, or TikTok is surpassing that, which is amazing. So it's no longer this app for entertainment. It's a search engine, and Gen Z especially is using it for if you want to learn how to change a tire. Instead of going to YouTube, they're going to TikTok because they're going to learn how to do it in 15 seconds or less, or 3 seconds or less, and they can watch it on their phone, and they don't have to turn their phone or anything like that. It's quick, it's easy. And yeah, it's just going to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is from Bloomberg and from Search Engine Journal, two huge accounts that are all saying TikTok's here to stay, and it's only going to get bigger. And it's being used as a search engine right now, which we will touch on with SEO and keywording in a minute. So the basics are consistency. You don't have to post every day, but you should be consistent about it. Instead of posting like 5 times in 1 week or 5 times in a day and then not posting for another month, the algorithm's going to get confused as to who you are and what you're doing. And people, when you show up, are going to be like, wait, who are you? And kind of goes hand in hand with Instagram as well. If you don't show up and all of a sudden, or if you're looking on Instagram or on TikTok and somebody comes up in your feed and it's off niche or it's different than what you would expect when you look on there, people are going to unfollow you or you're just not going to get seen. And then as far as quality goes, you can just use an iPhone. That's what I use. Nothing more than that. And, you know, if you can invest in a tripod, they're not really expensive. You can find one on Amazon. And then the end goal is I always try to have a reason for my posts. Yes, sometimes I have posts that are just very aspirational. But if you're a business and you want to get clients, that is what you should be talking about. If you want followers, you need to be posting more often. If you're an interior designer and you have a book deal coming up or you want a book deal, start talking about those things. If you have an online shop, say, you know, you're doing your own kind of thing. I know that Studio McGee, everybody knows who Studio McGee, right? So they have an online shop. If they're also selling, they should be showing those pieces and then saying, if you like this, go back to my online shop. Mm-hmm. It's a way of always talking about that. All right, so let's talk about a bunch of content ideas because I've seen a lot of like OG creators on here either kind of fall off the map because they're going, I can't keep up with this video. I just don't get it. People don't understand me. Or designers who are kind of on the struggle bus moving to video content, especially on TikTok. They might be killing it on Instagram, but TikTok is a little different kind of beast. So I personally have this like running list of ideas. I'm always on my phone kind of, you know, putting them all together. And then I usually have a plan of what I want to do. And that consists of also writing a script if I'm going to have a voiceover. So, and I'm also saving a bunch of stuff that I'm like, I can recreate this and I can make it better. So do your research. That's really the first thing. If you're confused about, you know, what kind of content you should put out, just plan it out and watch creators that you kind of like jive with. And it doesn't have to be, I know Anne touched on this last week, it doesn't have to be a creator that's in your niche. Like it doesn't have to be, for me, a home decor creator. I watch a lot of creators that don't do any home decor. In fact, for a while, there was no home decor people out there while I was on in 2020. Like it was super low. And I was like, I need to find people who I am learning these trends from, or I kind of really like how they're setting up their strategy. And Carla Rockmore happens to be one. She's a fashion blogger, designer, stylist. I don't really know what she is. I think she's actually, she designs like clothing and she designs jewelry. So totally off my niche, but I love her voiceovers and I love her energy and she gives me a ton of ideas. And then I just kind of study those best performing videos and I save things, and you'll see kind of on that one screenshot is a bunch of, you know, it says like sponsored post ideas, duet this, craft this, recreate this. These are all in a collection of folders that I have. So while I'm going through, if you push your like finger down or you hit the little like bookmark button, you can actually save those. And then TikTok lets you save them into folders, which is amazing. They didn't let you do this before. This is kind of a, yeah,
I love that. I think that's super important too, just because thank you for saying it out loud, because I think so many of us know we should be doing this, not just liking and then forgetting. So I think hearing it out loud that we need to take the extra few seconds, create a folder and label it so we can then go back and recall what we learned and what we want to take away from that, I think is super important.
Well, yeah, there's homework you have to do on the front end before you even start posting, right? So it's do your research, you know, take the time to look at other accounts and build that strategy, like you said, before you even putting that content out.
Right. Yeah. It's super important, especially, you know, when you're doing something for a brand or a series or something. If you want that idea and you want a strategy and it's working for them, it's going to be great for working for you. You just have to put your own spin on it. And I'm always saying, how can I make this better? How, if I am really loving this and I'm seeing, you know, like 700 million likes on a video, I know that Carla Rockmore is doing something really good. How can I make that interesting and more of my style, but yet take that strategy and put it towards the stuff that I'm pushing out? So yeah, saving that stuff and then rewatching them, especially if you're like, I don't know what to post today. You go back and you kind of get some inspiration.
I love that.
All right. So then I like to say that there's core elements of a post. There's your technical component, which is like, how well does this video flow? And does it, like, I'll go and watch my videos after I've done in production. Like, I look at it and go, is my text overlay actually in the proper spot? Because I know I was doing this series going, it was like 10 things that are dating your home. And one thing I can say this because it's like in a safe space with interior designers, right? Is barn doors. I personally am not loving barn doors anymore. I loved them when they first came out, not as much anymore. But with that, I did my text overlay and I did my voiceover. And when I said modern doors, I was showing a picture of very traditional like trim, and somebody called me out on it. And I'm like, well, I was actually talking about the door before that, but okay. But it is important that it does kind of flow along.
Mm-hmm. I think Anne talked about this last week too. Like she said, when she was doing voiceover, that if the like sync wasn't exactly with the text, that people instantly went away. And she also mentioned the technical part of it. Like people are so picky when they watch your, 10-second video. It has to be like right on par.
Yeah. And if it's not, they call you out for it. And that kind of goes into the next part where you have this intellectual component where your viewers, are they understanding what you're saying? I did another one where I was talking about estate sales and how a bunch of people were standing in line and how those people weren't going to tell you where to sign up for the list. So you go up to the door to sign up. People thought I was going up to the door and walking in front of them. And I'm like, no, there's a sign up sheet. So I had to do another one to explain, hey, there's a lot of, confusion about this. No, you don't just run up in front of those people. You have to stand in line, but there's a list. So yeah, it's how are you communicating? Are you communicating properly? Because you're only doing it in, 30 seconds or less, sometimes a little more. But it's a very quick video that you're trying to like put in a lot of information. So you want to make sure you have that creative component then too, your transitions, your effects, your cuts. Are they too fast? Is it too slow? Is it feel monotonous? So I kind of, before I post, I look through it a few more times to make sure that it really is where I want it to be. And yes, it does all make sense. And sometimes I even have my husband or my kids watch it, because if it's one that has a really good strategy and it's not just fluff, just because I want to make sure that it is understandable.
Well, and it's kind of crazy too, how we've kind of all become like producers, like movie and like cutting. And it's just kind of a lot. Like if you would have thought, years ago that we would have needed these skills. I mean, I always say this, I'm kicking myself, but I would have done a video editing class or, all those things. So it's just kind of crazy how much you have to learn and elevate constantly your education on how to keep up with all these trends and the cuts and the timing.
Well, and if you think about it, like everybody has one of these, right? So that means that everyone can be a content creator and everyone can make content for a brand, or everyone can make content for a business that they might just have in their head that they want to build, and they can do it in the matter of days. And if they have the right strategy behind it, they can do a whole pivot. it's kind of crazy.
Super exciting, honestly. If you do it, you can make things happen. It's so great. I mean, you did. Look how we're talking. You dove in and you tried it, and look, we're actually having you talk about all of this now. So crazy.
Yeah, because when I did that one with Sabrina Soto where we did the little dance for 18 whopping likes, it was
we
like
were together. Yeah.
It was like my shtick. It was like my go-to thing. And I did one with you too at the merchandise mart in Chicago.
It was so, and then like in that moment you realize, wow, like I remember being like, oh gosh, we're doing this TikTok thing and kind of thinking, but it was looking back such a transformational moment, especially for you as a content creator, because you were leaning in and then look what's happened years later. We're diving in fully. So you're ahead of the game, and it's because you leaped on your instincts and you just tried it, and it looked funny and it felt weird getting on top of those carpets and dancing with you. But it's so great. Like, look what it became.
And I think this goes without saying, but maybe it should, you don't have to be in your 20s to do this. I'm 47. I'm going to be 48 in a couple of months. Like, I'm almost 50 years old and I'm up on carpets doing silly dances. And now I don't really do dances anymore. It's not my thing. I just talk about home decor. And that's a really cool thing about TikTok, is that it has gone from this whole dance platform to more of an educational short form video. And I think that's something that TikTok did very strategically. I know that I was personally hired by TikTok to do these educational videos. And it was like, you need to do 40 videos in 2 or 3 months. And they did that with chunks of people in all different niches to push out educational content to make sure that people who were seeing this knew that it wasn't just a dance platform.
That's so eye-opening to hear that from you, because I think we can all kind of recall back when we started seeing less dancing and more new kind of types of content. So it was a strategy behind TikTok to get that to happen, which is so interesting.
Yeah. I think if it was still a dance platform only, it would not. I mean, now that this pandemic is over, and we're not all sitting at home bored just watching silly videos. We're using it to help ourselves get through life.
Exactly.
Changing a tire. So this is one question that I get a lot, and it is, I don't love the way I look. I don't like how I look on camera. And my answer is, get over it. I am almost 50 years old. I have wrinkles. I don't have beautiful, perfect hair. I may not always have my makeup on just wonderfully. Anne kind of mentioned this for her karate chopping video for the pillows. She was wearing sweatpants and people commented on it. They'll forget that. Don't worry about it. So, and also realize that everything that you're doing, you can edit out things. If you want to have your face, behind, or you want to there's ways around it. So put your camera on a tripod during install day so that you're walking back and forth. There's other people walking back and forth. The focus isn't just on you. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you're the one that's looking at this content, and you're the one that's, criticizing the way you look or your voice or your outfit, or there's never the perfect time. So just do it. You can also, if you don't love how you look on camera, you can do a voiceover so that you're not on the camera, but your voice is talking. You can use green screen so that, there's a girl, Emily Shaw. She's at Emily Reina. She's huge now. But Emily does this thing a lot where she's, just this floating green screen head, and she kind of moves it around and things, but I'm not focused on her. I see her, but I'm focused on what is going on with the screen and what she's showing me. But nobody watches your content more than you. So just don't let video paralyze you.
I really like too, one of my favorite content creators is Athena from I Swoon, and she's really strategic in that it's always from her back. I kind of have found like she's walking into the frame and it's her back of her head and her beautiful outfit. I always love her fashion too. She'll wear cute little cutout back dresses and stuff, but I think that's how she prefers to get herself in the camera. And I feel like that's a little less intimidating to kind of do it that way, if that's another strategy.
Yeah. There's always ways around it if you don't like how you look on video, but because it's this huge reach, that's this with a full market of people in any niche, and it's free, you don't let it paralyze you. So definitely one of my biggest things. And this has to go with my age too. One of my girlfriends sent this to me. She's a fellow designer. She's like, oh, by the way, I was in an events industry and last night, and I was with this other group and they're Chicago based, and your name came up as a grown-up who makes good TikTok content. So I'm fully embracing that. And then, this goes with, do you need to show your face? Yes and no. Obviously, interior design, it revolves around rooms, but I do find that when you put your face in it or you have a human shown in the video, it does perform a little better. So whether you're walking through the room or your back is to the camera, like you were saying with I Swoon, there's so many ways to do it. Sometimes if I don't have my hair done, I'm not going to do a close-up, or if I have no makeup on, I'm not going to do a close-up. Maybe I do a time lapse, or maybe I just have the camera rolling and I speed it all up so no one's focused on me.
Love it.
All right, here is where I like to get really juicy for TikTok, and this was my aha moment. So I always try to have a hook. Sometimes I'll hop on a trend or something, but I really like this hook. So you have 3 seconds or less to really capture that viewer's attention, and you got to do it immediately or they're just going to swipe up. So a good hook gets your audience invested, and it doesn't take a long time to get to the best part. So you're basically going to give them this juicy piece of information at the front of the story, and then not reveal the full answer to this juicy part until you get to your punchline at the end. So it's kind of like that joke. How do you do, or these people walk into a bar, and you're telling the story and then you get to the punchline. So same kind of thing with a hook. You want to basically hook them in the beginning and then back up, tell your story, and pay it off. You've just increased your watch time then. And if you're lucky, you might also get a replay, because it's those replays and saves and people pausing to read text overlay that the algorithm sees that this is information or content that people are getting involved in and that they want to see or rewatch. That's really the key. Types of hooks. There's a whole bunch of types of hooks. 3 ways to style a mantle. Straightforward, right? You're going to tell them 3 different ways, or this is how I did this, or this is why I did this, or unexpected ways to style your mantle for Halloween. Those are really straightforward hooks. Then you have your results, which is if you want to achieve this, then do this for your desired results. So this is what I would do. I'm going to give you the simplest way to achieve a beautifully styled coffee table. Here you go. 1, 2, 3. But you're telling them right in the beginning, I'm going to give you the simplest way to achieve this. And that's in your 3 seconds or less. You also have relatability. And, so that you probably have, for me, I have decor people that love interior design. So I'm going to be relatable and say, this one's for the decor lovers who refuse to settle for a boring bathroom. Boom, boom, boom. Have, punchy this and make sure you got good tile and do this, and maybe something interesting is. So I'm relating to them and they understand what this is going to be about within 3 seconds or less. And I can actually probably say that in 2 seconds or less, which is even better. Then you have the call out. I have a confession to make, or I have a secret to share, or today's PSA is this, or fun fact about interior designers, I silently judge you when I walk into your home. You know, those kind of things. And that's my hook. Then there's the looking back. 3 things that I wish I knew before decorating my first home. With 7 years of experience as an interior designer, this is what I've learned. So all of these things are completely easy to do, and it just kind of sets you up.
These are really great categories too. We talked about, you know, what categories of content, but if you even look at it in categorizing by hooks, you know, and whatever you fit into these little categories, it's great. I love these.
Yeah. Screenshot this.
Yes.
Because there's so many times if one doesn't work, then you're like, okay, how can I do this? And I'm going to get to another thing as well, as far as strategy goes, when you get, I'll get there. Hold. So you then now that you have all your hooks, you got your video formats, right? So you got your value chunk, which is providing tips and advice and general information, and you're chunking them out into like 3 ways to style a mantle. It's short, it's under 20 seconds, and it's going to help you with your voiceover if you have some text overlay on there. And this is perfect for creating a series. So I'm doing this with my 10 ways or 10 things that, you know, you need for updating, or that are saying your home is outdated, or 10 things that you won't regret buying for interior design or home decor. So this is really good. It's a value chunk, and I can do it within 20 seconds or less. Then you have your deep dive. So this is going to be a little bit longer. It's packed with information. And one thing that you want to do, and I hate this when people, I don't hate this, I feel bad, especially when it's a really good video. If your music is too loud, sometimes you may just want to have your music out altogether, but really listen to it and make sure that your music is at a good volume or a low volume, so that you can really hear what's going on with this voiceover. So videos like this, they also need a really good script. So this is where you kind of want to go through and say, how can I get this in a certain amount of time that isn't 5 minutes long, and it makes sense with everything that's going, like flow wise? Can I put some text overlay in there? But you're going into a deep dive on one specific topic. Then you have your text bomb. I see these a lot. I think they're a strategy to get a good replay, because there is so much text on the screen. So you'll have your phone, you know, like this, and then you'll have, you know, this whole section here is filled with text. And it's great if you can find a sound that is 7 seconds long or sounds like it's a loop, because then it doesn't sound like it's starting over. So even though your video is only 7 seconds long, they may be watching it for 10, which counts as a replay. It's not the best one, but if you're looking for some replays and you have a good text bomb, it works. So, and it also pays to say that once you figure out your format that you like, you can really start cranking out content, because people are like, how do you have time for all of this?
So bouncing off that, Kyla, one of my questions for you is, so that value chunk first one you talked about, and how you mentioned that's what you used for your really popular 10 things that are dating your home series, that if you haven't seen it, you guys have to check it out. It's blown up, but it's amazing. But so my question would be, knowing that has worked really well for you, is there more series that you've been kind of listing and thinking about that you'll probably be coming out with soon, just knowing that was so successful for you?
I actually just started to do a 10 things that are must-have decor pieces that you won't regret buying.
Oh,
so it's really like, yeah, it's like, okay, you have this, you know, format, And it's like, sky's the limit all of a sudden. It's super fun. And it has so many legs, you know, like I could do 10 sofas that I think are great, that are affordable, or 10 chairs that I would love to own, or, you know, like it could be really anything.
I love it. I can't wait for that. I'll be stalking your page.
And just don't complicate things. Like, don't overthink it, because it's really the simplest things that go viral. It's crazy. I had one that was like, it was my friend, Fox Family Home, I think is her name. She did a voiceover that said, you know, buy the weird stuff. And I'm like, I have a lot of weird stuff. Yeah. And it's literally just me showing weird stuff. It was the simplest video to do. It took me literally like 5 seconds to do, because I just showed like 10 shots of weird stuff, and it's her voice and I'm not even on it. And it totally went viral. All right. So then you have the whole enchilada, which is basically absolutely everything you can chuck into the video. You're doing more than a deep dive. It becomes long form. You know, it's 3 minutes or it's 10 minutes. You start it with your hook. You lay out all your points. You're giving examples. You're doing cuts from your face to your examples. You have, you know, your text overlay where you're doing your points. It's highly engaging, and it takes a lot of time to create. So this one takes a lot of planning. It's not something I could do every day, but it is something that I am starting to look at more and more, because long form video is all of a sudden being pushed in the TikTok algorithm. If you can take someone's, if you can get them to actually engage and watch for 3 minutes, that algorithm's like, you are the bomb. So definitely, if you can keep them engaged for longer than a minute, and you can push into a 3 minute mark, you're going to be pushed out before anybody else. Then there's the trend. This is something that Anne had talked about. She did the immediately no with the karate chopping pillows. Mm-hmm. If you can adapt that trend to your niche, it can work. It doesn't have to be like you're doing the renegade dance and doing this and, you know, standing in a room, because that doesn't work anymore. But if you can adopt the trend to your niche, that's when the algorithm gods could really shine. But it should be relatable to your niche. And then there's the rant. So I have my rants that kind of went along. So some of these video formats can overlap. I have my 10 things that are dating your home, and it goes into a rant about barn doors or it goes into a rant about, you know, the red accent wall. And you can find your community really well, but you also will attract those haters and trolls, people that really love their barn doors and they're not going to let them go. So, you know, there's some good and bad with the rant, but you can really form that community when everyone is on board with your train of thought.
We had a question come in, Kyla. Someone asked if you could explain the text bomb a little further.
The text bomb. Yeah. So basically you have and I'm going to just go like this. You're going to have like a big chunk of text like this long in your video, and it's just going to be music on the background. So you're going to have all this text. You're not really going to be saying anything. You could just be showing a room. Could just be showing your face. You could be doing the action that you're talking about in here, but it's going to be, you know, 5, 6, 7 seconds long of a video that just has a big text overlay of whatever you're trying to say, where people are going to want to read this text while the video is playing in the background. Hopefully that helps. So again, it's not one of those things that works well all the time, but it does help if you're telling somebody, rather than doing a voiceover, if you're telling somebody in text what you want to say, it takes them usually longer than those 7 seconds to read. So that's where you're getting that rewatch. It just automatically is looping. All right. Does that answer that question, I hope?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So then I have my process. And these are things that I just kind of like to think about before I'm filming so that I have a rough idea or concept of what I'm going to post. So when I went through this series of 10 things, I go, okay, so there's my hook, and I'm going to write an outline of things that I know I'm going to film. So almost like a content calendar as well will work with this. If you're doing your content calendar, I would put like what my hook is for this piece of content that I'm going to push out. I also write my entire script, and then I go through and I edit and re-edit. I always know if I'm going to have a CTA. Do I have an online shop? Do I have like something else that I want them to sign up for? Do I have an e-course that I have or I want to sell? Do I want them to sign up for my mailing list? All of those things are my call to action that I want to know if I need to include that for my post. Is there a trending sound? I save a lot of my trending sounds in my collections, how I was showing where the categories were for like sponsored post ideas and things that I wanted to go back to that I saved for videos. You can also save trending sounds. Am I using effects? Is there a green screen? Is there some sort of transition that I know that I need to film? If I'm doing a before and after, like I've been working on my closet, and I know that I want to have my tripod in one specific spot. So I lay down like painter's tape. So I know exactly where my tripod is going to be. And I kind of basically know where I'm going to stand. So if I'm going to do a snap, or if I'm going to do one of these where I'm going like that, and I have that transition, I know that I need to make sure that I film that. I also, to save time, I batch. Like I batch everything. So I'm filming one day and I'm editing another. I'm not filming, editing, writing a script, like I try to chunk all of that out into different days. Everyone asks how you find a trending sound. Mm-hmm. And it always changes, because once it starts trending, like everybody could jump on that in like 2 seconds. I know when Harry Styles came out with one of his songs that everybody tried to jump on that, and it did not work for me, but on TikTok, but it worked for me on Instagram, because Instagram is usually like 2 weeks behind for that trending sound. Mm-hmm. So to find the trending sound, I scroll through TikTok. And then after, say, like 5-10 minutes, I'll usually hear that same song over and over and over again. So like there was the guy Dogface who was skateboarding with his cranberry sauce juice. Mm-hmm. And how many times did you then hear that Fleetwood Mac song? Like over and over and over again. All of a sudden, you know that is a trending sound. So basically, you're going to click on the little disc at the bottom of the sound page, and you're going to go to the screenshot where it says capitalism popped off today. And it's under 3,000 or 8,000 videos at the time when I was working on this. I'm sure it's probably more. And the first video was 1 million likes. That's huge. And when I originally wrote this, it was in this says July 11th. So this would have been probably July 14th or 15th when I looked at this. So it's within the last few days, less than a week. If I'm seeing all of these kind of popping up and they're all within the last few days, you've got a trending sound. And I like to keep that under 100,000 views. And if I can get in on that trend within under 10,000 views, awesome.
Kyla, I remember, I think in a conversation it came up, but just how these TikTok songs that do take off, they become bops, right? And you had mentioned that you have a playlist, I think, on your Spotify that's just like TikTok songs, right?
I do. I have a TikTok playlist in my car.
I remember I
love it.
loved like there was a Demi Lovato song. I think it was Solo, but I've done 2 TikToks and that was one I did. But it's just they get stuck in your head. They're great. Like they're great songs.
They do. And if you're an artist and you can get an influencer to or a creator to like push your song out, like that can make or break your career. I know that it was funny after I'd gone viral the first time on TikTok, I had a band named Emotional Oranges reach out to me and say, what will it take for you to use our song? I'm
That's
like,
true.
well, your song is great. I'll just use it. You know, I should have charged for that. And now I think it's Warner Brothers. They have an app called Reach where you can actually get paid to use people's songs.
Oh my gosh. Well, of course you can. So, that's wild. Thank you for telling us about that.
Yeah. However, I've noticed, and this is actually just this week, that once I was scrolling through it, I was like, where's the audio? The audio is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that voiceover was gone, it was that the music was gone. And it was all original voiceovers that were coming out. So now I've actually been playing with that too. One of my last ones I just did was just the voiceover and I ripped the song out of it. And I was like, okay. And it performed well.
So always testing. Just because the song is trending, it might not perform well and it might actually just be your own voiceover that takes off now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you all of a sudden see something, it's like, oh, okay. If you notice it and you're like, whoa, that's weird, it's probably a thing, especially if it's on your For You page.
Got it.
I always have this running list of ideas, and Anne mentioned that she does as well. And I kind of keep track of all of mine in Trello is what I use. But there's a bunch of other, content kind of management systems that you can use. Airtable is one, Notion is another, Evernote, Asana. I personally like Trello. It kind of like looks like Pinterest or acts like Pinterest because you're moving cards around. It's a little more visual. But if you don't want to get fancy like this, you can use the Notes app. You can just use a pen and paper if you want. While you're flipping through a design magazine or watching television or scrolling through social media, anything that's going to like go, oh, that would make a really good video. Like I'm totally writing that down. I'm just looking at like some of my old like ideas was the DIY home gym with the Rocky theme song in the background. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. So it can just whatever's gonna spark that idea again. And if somebody asks a question on your posts, and I don't think Instagram does this yet. I haven't figured out if they do this right now, how to do it, but I know that on TikTok, if somebody asks you a question, you can hold that down and you can either reply to it or you can save that question or comment to collections as well. So that's how I keep track of how I'm going to do my replies, because I can't necessarily maybe reply right then and there because I'm making dinner or I'm picking my kids up from school. But I can save it. And then also when you reply within the video, that can cause that older video to resurface on the For You page, which is something that I don't really think happens as much on Instagram as it does on TikTok. So if you have one that's like a year old, it's kind of like Pinterest where you have this evergreen content. You can revive old content by replying to posts. All right, so how do you write a script? I write chunks of text in my Trello cards. This was, one of my ideas was how to layer multiple decor styles without cluttering your design. I just click on one of these ideas in the TikTok idea, and then I can go in and write the text right here. I can put attachments in there. I can do video in there. I can add images in there. I can add links in there. It's basically my way to brain dump everything and then I shorten it and I rework it. So I'll say, okay, how can I, and you can use this, you don't have to use this on a phone. You can use this on a desktop, which is probably easier. But I can, say, okay, this is the stuff that I want for my text overlay. And this is the stuff that I want to actually be saying in my voiceover. And then I read through that script out loud multiple times before I record it. And then I re-edit and all the text, and then I will record my voiceover. And when I'm recording my voiceover, I usually do it in chunks. So I'll do a sentence and then I'll stop and I'll take a breath. And then I'll do another chunk, stop and take a breath. So it is very much like how you would do audio recording in a studio. Only I'm literally, I don't have a fancy, thing. When I talk into my phone, I talk like this. There's no fancy microphone or anything like that. I'm just like this. That's how I do my voiceovers. All right, growth strategy. Do we have any more questions before we get into this part? No?
We just had one question that was regarding your playlist. They wanted to know what the name of your playlist was.
I think I have one on Spotify that is called TikTok playlist. Okay. I should actually post it because it is always like changing up. Right now, I just have it on an Apple, it's just on my Apple music playlist in here, but I'll post one onto my Spotify because I do have a whole Spotify thing where I do playlists for the blog. So I will add that in there if I don't have it in there right now. If I do have it in there, it's probably older.
Awesome.
All right, growth strategies. So there are ways to grow that actually work. And the one that I noticed and went viral for first was the introduction post. Hi, I'm Kyla. I write this blog called House of Hipsters. We'll be listening to this in a second. Mm-hmm. It's very simple, and it's pretty much brilliant because I want to say almost 3.5 million people hear me say, hi, I'm Kyla. I have a very weird name. It's not a common name. And so anyone that was named Kyla that was going through that video commented, oh my God, my name is Kyla too.
I love that.
But I tried to respond to every single one of those Kylas as well and be like, hi Kyla, nice to meet you. But the introduction post is a great way to reintroduce yourself, and not just once, multiple times. I like to do this once every 3-4 months. Hi, I'm Kyla. I write this blog called House of Hipsters. Because when you're in the feed like that, yes, they may understand, they may go, oh, I know that bathroom or I know that dining room, but they may not remember, hi, I'm Kyla. I write a blog called House of Hipsters. So the introduction post is great because it really tells people what they're going to see and what to expect from you. Then there's the repost. So if you have nothing to post that day and you had a post that did really, really well, that's a great way to just push out content again and repost that old video. It's just when you do that, make sure that you don't have the TikTok kind of watermark on there, because then it really can tell that you're reposting old content. And it probably knows anyway, but if you let it go long enough, 6 months or longer, it's a great way to just push out or revive old content. The 3-in-1 strategy. I love this idea. So this is kind of where I said I will come back to this. And it was when I was talking about the value chunks. So the 3-in-1 strategy is basically you have one idea where you're saying, let's style a mantle 3 ways. But let's say that first idea didn't work, but you really have good content and a good idea. Let's do that video in 2 more ways. So how else can you do it when you're going back to the video formats? Can I do it as a rant? Can I do it as a theme versus concept where I'm talking about Halloween and I'm going, instead of doing this, do it this. Or if I want to do it as the results based where I'm going, okay, if you want the most beautiful mantle for the holidays, this is how I would achieve that result. You know, kind of that idea where you have one idea, 3 different videos works really, really well. And then you're not coming up with all these different ideas all the time. You're kind of sticking with that and just seeing with what works. Then you have your series, which is what I'm doing, which is part of my growth strategy. And I have seen substantial growth, not just on TikTok with that, but also on Instagram. I think we had talked about this before. I gained 30,000 followers on Instagram using the series.
And this was recently, right?
Yeah. And
you were shocked by it. And you haven't seen that growth on that platform like that in a while, right?
No, I have stayed stagnant as far as growth on that platform for years. And this was literally within 6 weeks, 30,000 new people. I'm like, wow, that's a whole stadium full of people.
Well, that's just reassuring to hear, just because I think some people think it's just, there's no growth left on that platform. And that's so not true. I mean, you just experienced it, and just by switching up your strategy a bit.
Exactly. And I'm getting content not only for Instagram, but I'm pushing it out on TikTok as well, which is, my bread and butter. And then if something bombs, analyze why, especially if it's a really good idea, and then recreate it. Ask yourself, how can I make it better? Like when I was looking at the barn door thing and I'm looking in through all the comments, how could I have made that text overlay? How could I have made the flow better? Because if you have this great concept, but you're not, implementing it the right way, it could bomb. So there are always ways to improve it. And this is the 3-in-1 strategy where I was talking about. So you have this idea of how to style pillows on a sofa. And it's literally like the best growth strategy ever, because you're not coming up with multiple ideas. You're just coming up with a few ideas and then hashing it out, 3 different ways. So you have 5 ideas, but all of a sudden you have 15 videos. That's a lot of content. So Anne went viral for her hatred on the karate chop sound. So if I'm, doing this, how to style pillows on a sofa, all of a sudden, one is like a beginner's guide to mixing patterns with a voiceover. Okay, that could be interesting. It may fall flat. Anne went viral for her rant. And then maybe another one is showing a time lapse of styling pillows with a voiceover or a green screen. All right, so here comes the fun part. And we're gonna make sure we had some technical faults on this one. So please be patient. We're gonna look at a couple, 3 actually, videos that I did. How are we doing on time, by the way?
We have 10 more minutes technically, but we'll just keep going for anyone who's able to stay on with all of us. And we'll be sure to also give this recording and share it with our network. So you'll be able to watch this whole thing.
Awesome. Okay. So these are the video analytics of the video that I'm going to show you. And let's just go through it really quick. See if we can get this. And hopefully I don't blast anybody's speakers.
You requested a bar cart that's non-alcoholic, so let's try a coffee station. The books act as your foundation and nothing more. And here are a few cups for easy access. A lamp for some added height. Don't worry about those cords. I'll show you what we're going to do with them. Coffee pods, creamer, and some sugar. Now, of course, I'm going to judge because I just can't help myself. This plant will take up some volume and you're good to go. Remember those cords? Give them a little tape job. You can also use zip ties. And now you have a coffee station.
All right. All right, it worked. Good. So I have my hook that is, you requested a bar cart that's non-alcoholic. Let's try this coffee station. They know exactly what to expect. I'm showing a quick peek of the reveal beforehand. Then I'm going easy step-by-step instructions. I'm teasing my secret sauce that is hiding the cord trick, which isn't really a trick at all. It's just a way to get somebody to watch that, because maybe I have something amazing, but it's just a little tape job, couple seconds of fluff, and done. So how can I make it better? I could have said like and follow for more home decor tips and tricks, because I didn't do that. I could have written a blog post that said, here's everything that you see, including the bar cart on where to buy it. I could have said, comment with what you like, what you want me to style next. So those are a few ways that I could have made that better. This is the introduction where I talked about, it was 31 seconds long. It got 3.5 million views and it was watched 20,000 hours, which is insane. Like, and if you think my first words is, hi, I'm Kyla. I write a blog called House of Hipsters. That's crazy that I told 3.4 million people that. So let's watch that one really quick.
Hi, I'm Kyla. I write a blog called House of Hipsters, and now I'm here on TikTok teaching you all about home decor. I like to change up my house a lot. Sometimes the projects are big, other times they're small. When I'm not at my house, sometimes I'm out vintage hunting, or maybe sometimes just looking for pillows. But I'll take you along and show you the ropes on how to do it all yourself. From the perfect sheets to the perfect shelf. Oh, I'm also a content creator, and I take you behind the scenes. So welcome.
It's a super easy concept. It's that introduction, and reposting this has not worked for me. I think so many people saw it, but it is something that I go back and kind of recreate. I use a lot of the same elements, but it is something that I like to do once every 3, 4, 5 months, just as a, hi, I'm Kyla. Here's exactly what you can expect if you follow me. Here's a few more random subjects that I like. You and I are going to be BFFs. You know, that is, I'm being very relatable, and hey, ask me questions and I'm going to try my best to help you. It was super simple concept, idea wise, and it paid back just crazy.
Hi, I'm Kyla.
Oh, see, these are the technical difficulties for this one. All right, we're going to try one more time. This is the last one. So this is my secret source for vintage. Anybody who's watching this, don't tell anybody once you hear where my secret source is. This did really well as far as going viral, but this did not really do much for me. This did a lot for my secret source. My secret source had 200 followers when I posted this. My secret source ended, I want to say they have like 24,000 followers right now. And it literally happened within like a couple days. So it was kind of amazing. And this is why brands should jump on this, because you never know what's going to happen and how it can change your business, because this really did change the business for this antique shop or auction house. All right.
I know I'm going to have big regrets for sharing my super secret vintage source, but no, I did not buy these on First Dibs, and no, I did not pay $2,100. There's an auction house in Chicago, but they ship everywhere. You can bid online, and they're called Ribbage. You're welcome.
So really, we'll make sure that that's going to stop. Okay, good. It did. My hook was, I'm going to regret telling you this. I'm not rich. I'm just like you. I'm relatable. Showing some super rare pieces from a secret source. This is also something that brands, if you're like listening to this right now, a lot of brands have said to me, and commented on this as well. I've had brands say, I want to see my product front and center like this in the screen. And I want you to say my full name, and I want it to be to brand standards. And I want, like, you're so confined in that box. This was, I didn't tell them the name until the very last second. So they had to watch it 20 seconds. And in the last like half second, I said, and their name is Rivage. And I put it up on the screen. They were also tagged in the video and in the comments. So many people rewatched that and said, I can't tell you how many times I had to rewatch that because I didn't know the name. I'm like, it's Rivage. They're tagged. but a brand should know that that is super valuable because the video is performing so well. People want to know. They didn't see anything of a product or a logo. It was just at the very end, and it was only, and their name is Revenge.
I think too, that's a testament, I think, to content creators, and obviously you, Kyla, kudos, because you know what you're doing. But I think, you know, as an agency, we're oftentimes coaching our brands to our clients to allow our influencers to, you know, do what they think will perform best, because really they know their audience the best. And so, you know, yes, having your product front and center and having your name said within the first 2 seconds, like that's what you think you want, but they really want this, right?
They want the result of this to go from 200 followers on TikTok to 20 some thousand followers on TikTok, literally within a couple of days. And there was crossover there. So there was crossover to Instagram too. They went from 200 Instagram followers to 5, 6, 7,000 Instagram followers. And that's like a community. That's your bread and butter right there. And if you can have that crossover also go into it, that's amazing. So those are the ones that really, I know I'm going to have big performed well. So creative thought starters, just really quick, share design tips, how to style a bed, how to style a bookshelf, how to create a fun DIY, behind the scenes. If you don't know what to do, but you're doing a styling session or you're doing install day or a photo shoot, like those are things that normal people don't see and they're actually interested in it. Let us see it. Teach followers something new about one of your team members, or rapid fire with them on, you know, their decor favorites. Share decor items that you regularly use, and hey, maybe they come from your online shop where they can go and click on the link in your bio, which I will tell you, don't say link in bio on TikTok. For some reason, TikTok does not like that. They don't like you to go off the platform. So even though you're doing the browser within the app, they don't like you to do that. So I say things like my link is in Lio in order to get away from saying my link is in my bio. Even if you're saying it verbally, it knows. It does not let you put any like links in the comment section or anything. And I'll get to how to get around that in a second, but don't say link in bio. L&B is another way to get around it. Share your favorite decor items that you come from your shop. And then there's another girl, her name is Nifty Nest. She's an interior designer. She's awesome. She goes to Walmart or Target or the dollar store and gives her followers things that what she would look for as an expert at the dollar store. And it's really interesting to watch. And then if your content, like if you're like tagging those brands in that as well, like that's even added exposure for you to be able to talk to that brand, have that brand come back to you and say, hey, you want to actually do this regularly. But giving your audience regular doses of this kind of content creates that emotional connection and creates that trust. So it's like slowly creating this community rather than, you know, how Instagram has a community. You're creating it slowly but surely. Especially when you're on TikTok, you can go viral really quickly. And then all of a sudden you have 1 million followers, and that's a lot of people. So to create that community and have them recognize you immediately is difficult. But if you're constantly giving them this regular dose of this kind of format with these strategies, they will understand that it's you. And if you start responding back to their questions in video replies, that's a great way to create this community.
Thank you for acknowledging that, Kyla, because I know that was a question that we got from registrants signing on. So just how to get that community built up. I know it's kind of difficult on TikTok. It's not as community building, fostering. So I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I was talking to Nicole from Making It Lovely last night at a friend's grand opening of her store. And she said, do you find this community, like, you know, we all know each other? Or I went to this, you know, content creator event and nobody knew anybody. And I think TikTok just exploded so quickly, and it happened during a pandemic where no one could really see each other. And I think it'll take some time, but if you continue showing up and talking and replying and commenting, you're slowly creating that community. So in my toolbox for creating, the content that I create, I have on my iPhone, I have a tripod. I use Video Leap. I know that Anne said she uses Splice. There's also InShot, Video Shop, and CapCut. CapCut is super easy to use. My daughter, who's 10, uses it. So super easy to use. And then if I'm in light that's not so good, I will use, like right now I have natural light coming in on me, but I may even want to bounce a ring light off because it looks a little red here. So maybe, it will brighten that up a little bit more. Musicaldown.com I use to download my TikTok videos and repost them onto something. If I don't want that watermark, I use Musical Down. You have to use that on a laptop though, and not on your phone, because when you download it, I don't know where it goes. It like goes into somewhere that I can never find. So use it on a laptop. And then I always have a backup phone charger or two, especially if I know I'm going to, be filming all day.
Really quickly, Kyla, we had a bunch of questions about, what apps you do use. So I think that's a great screen to screenshot as well, that last slide. And then also someone just asked, Casey, how do you organize all your raw video on your phone so you can access that for the future? Is there any way that you prefer to do that?
Yeah. So that's actually this step right here.
Perfect.
So I edit outside all of the apps. I do not edit in TikTok. I do not create in TikTok. I do not create in Instagram. I edit in Video Leap. And I actually have, so you'll see on one of these screen captures, it says kitchen progress. That is my entire kitchen build. That is an album on my phone. So once I film, I save those videos that I know that I want to keep, especially for B-roll. When you start like cranking this out, I go back and reuse that content. So once I film it once, I don't have to film it again, and it makes everything just go faster. It's like you have to push through that in order to like push through that time in the beginning to get B-roll. And all of a sudden you're going back to it. But if you can organize it in albums on your phone, that helps immensely. And then for me, I use Video Leap. That's the other screen capture here. And where it has those three little dots, if I'm doing something like my series 10 things about whatever, I can click on those three dots and say duplicate. So I'm actually duplicating things. I can have the same audio going across it. And all I have to do is, when I worked at Wix Furniture, I was doing a lot of commercials for television. We called it a donut, where you have like your beginning and you have your end. So kind of like the round part of your donut, and in the middle is the hole. That's what you're filling each and every time. So that is my like choice of format, because it's just so easy. But when you repurpose, or when you edit outside the app, you can repurpose everything really easy. So in order for me to stay on all the platforms, I am pushing the same content out, but I am not taking a TikTok video and downloading it with a watermark and then pushing it out onto Reels or pushing it out onto YouTube Shorts. So, or pushing it out onto Pinterest. I'm taking it out of Video Leap, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to take this video and I'm going to push that out onto TikTok. And then I take that same video, instead of downloading it, I take that same original video from Video Leap, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to push this out onto YouTube Shorts. I'm going to push it out here. So it has no crossover, but even my voiceover is done in Video Leap. So hopefully that helps, but it's the whole work smarter, not harder, edit only one time. And you're also not losing stuff in drafts, because so many times stuff gets lost in drafts. For my to-do list, I repurpose, and then if I can write a blog post that coincides with video content, I know that what happened actually with it just randomly happened. I had a bunch of ceiling lights that were in a roundup on the blog, and I pushed people saying the blink is in the LIO or the B is in the L, where instead of saying, link in bio, or I think Carla Rockwell says, where to find it, because it's always in the link is in the bio. People basically know what that is. And then I just, said, if you want to see other, instead of having, they call them boob lights. Everybody knows what the boob light is. It was, if you want other alternatives, you can find them on the blog. That post pushed 20,000 people over to the blog from both Instagram and TikTok in 48 hours. Amazing. I was like, heck yeah, I need to start doing this more often. For my link in bio, I don't use Linktree. I actually use a page that is on my website, because there's the Google ranking system. And if you have traffic that's coming to your site, Google says, okay, I should rank you higher. If you're giving that middleman like Linktree or someone like that, the traffic, that actually affects your Google ranking. So if you have a Linktree, I would say get rid of it. And if you don't have a link in your bio, do that right now. And don't have it just go to one space. Have a page that you're creating on your website that has a bunch of buttons. I'm actually going to refresh mine and have actual images in there and have it be a little bit more robust, because I think this is a little too dumbed down. But that's prime real estate. And then have also the link for your Instagram, because TikTok makes DMing super difficult. It gives you the ability to link your Instagram and your YouTube channel. But when somebody wants to get a hold of you on TikTok, you have to be following each other. And I have to mark you as a safe person to be able to talk back and forth. So if you have, your Instagram in there, it actually opens the Instagram app and it links right to it, and they can DM you through there. So it's a great way to connect with somebody.
I think this might be a nice segue into a question we got as well. And that was, how do you, discover or find these branded opportunities or sponsored opportunities on TikTok or regarding TikTok? And so it sounds like they can't really communicate with you successfully unless you are following each other, unless you've marked them safe. So are you finding that brands or these collaboration opportunities, they're leaping to Instagram or even emailing you to get in touch with you?
Yeah, most of them come with plain old email. So that's why, I have a contact me on my link in bio on that page. There is a way to email me directly. It goes directly to my contact page. So if anybody wants to email me, they can do it right then and there. But yeah, it's really coming through email. They may DM me. They may, and if I don't see it, a lot of times they'll say in the comments, hey, at House of Hipsters blog, because that's what I am over there, check your DMs, because they want to work with me. But unless I'm following them and they're following me back, we really can't communicate on TikTok unless it's in the comment section.
Got it.
So for repurposing, this is the how to style a coffee station. I just uploaded that video onto my Pinterest, and the video views are at 46,000 views, and that was lifetime. So it had been on probably less than a year, but 46,000 views, and the average playtime is 10 seconds. So I am taking the content that I'm making and I'm repurposing it everywhere, from Pinterest to Instagram Reels. I may take it and, a couple weeks later, I may revisit it in a carousel, especially if I'm doing like a room or something where I'm going, if you want to see the progress, swipe through. Or if I want to share it on stories and say, hey, remember when I was doing this, there's an update in my reels, or there's an update on the blog. So I will use it like that with a link. I upload it to YouTube Shorts. Right now, Shorts is actually huge. And it's a great way. It's kind of like how TikTok was back in 2020, not as popular, but YouTube is really pushing shorts and short form because they're competing directly with TikTok. So definitely do that. And then I'm going to take that YouTube short and I'm going to make a pin out of that. So I'm going to upload the actual raw video to Pinterest, but the link is actually, instead of going to TikTok or to Instagram, it's going to go to YouTube Shorts. So it's just a way to keep top of mind because you never know which one it's going to be that goes for you. And then I'm also going to take it and post that reel to Facebook page, my Facebook page, because Facebook is actually super relevant when it comes to reels.
Pausing quickly, just a natural place to kind of acknowledge a couple of questions. So one we got was, where are you putting your time regarding social platforms? And from what you just said is everywhere, right? You're repurposing, you're not just isolating yourself on one platform. You're everywhere and you're multi-purposing that content to be successful on each platform. And so I think that answers the question for that. But
my time is really pushed into short form video. It's not as much into blog posts. It's not as much into, a specific platform. But it is definitely pushed into making the video content and then repurposing it.
Got it. And then just want to shamelessly promote next week, for our webinar, we're going to be diving in deep to Pinterest. We actually have the creator management lead from the home and design category. His name's Jeremy. He'll be kind of speaking to idea pins and all of those things. I know he's going deep into that. So just notice that Kyla called out idea pins, and that's kind of where it's at right now on Pinterest. So kind of next step after this, I would think, would be wanting to learn how to, repurpose your TikToks that you just learned from Kyla into those idea pins. So make sure you tune in next week, and I will give that back to you now, Kyla, to finish up.
Yeah, definitely take your videos that you're posting, like all of that content, and make an idea pin, and then also make a video pin. Like those are 2 pins, and then you can make it into an Instagram reel, like that's being posted. So you're posting it as a static video, but you're sending it back to using the link for Instagram, or you're using the link to YouTube Shorts. Great way to repurpose all that content. I'm all about working smarter, not harder.
You are.
Then I want to just touch on search engine optimization, because this is one thing that Google has noticed with TikTok and how it's become this search engine. So if I type in interior design Chicago, my top suggestion is this one that says interior designer in the hashtag Chicago monochrome. That gentleman has 8,200 followers. So you don't have to have a lot of followers to be found. You just have to be using the search engine keywords properly. So, and that's what he did in his post. So if I look at his feed or his profile, it says interior designer, it says Chicago. He should really get rid of that Insta, because his Insta is already linked, and use something else in there. And then my advice to him, if he is watching on this, because I don't know him, my advice would be to add a link in bio, because he's losing out on potentially people finding him as a interior design Chicago or interior designer living in Chicago. Like, he should be using this more. So Google's going to start ranking TikTok videos like they do YouTube videos. And if you start doing this now, you're jumping on it now, and you're being found, or it will help you easily be found. So if you're typing in on Google, interior designer Chicago, your video for this guy, like this guy could come up on Google in a few months when that happens. So it's all different places that you can put your keywords in the profile, in your caption, in your hashtag, and in the closed caption too. If you have it in your voiceover, it's seeing those words. And then do your keyword research. So if I do interior designer Chicago, and then I scroll down, it's going to give me other search words in there. So you can do Chicago interior designer apartment. And this gal did hers. It's actually from 2021, but it's still ranking as one of the top ones in that search. And this is just another way for people to find you. so she was like, I want to do apartments and I want to show my apartment, and she's an interior designer and she's showing smaller things. She's also saying she's in Chicago. That's a great way for geolocating. There's another new thing for the feed that's going to be coming out. It's, if you look at the top of your feed when you first open it, it'll say following, and then it'll say for you, like your For You page. There's another one that's going to be coming out called Nearby. So if you're a small business, like I was telling the gal that I was at her event last night, I said, when I post you on TikTok, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hashtag Oak Park, or I'm going to geolocate Oak Park, and I'm going to geolocate Chicago, and I'm going to keyword this. So this is all for home decor and for vintage finds and for art. All of those keywords are going to be in that video, so that if somebody, when you get the Nearby, that video will come up in the Nearby feed. So if you are living in that area and you have that all in your profile, something that is nearby is going to locate you, or going to help you get found on the Nearby feed. So, and it's just going to help you like see small brands and small companies, and that's huge. So if you're a small brand and you want to have people come in, or if you're Universal Furniture and you want people to come into your High Point showroom, I would say, hey, geolocate us on this, or, so that if somebody is nearby and it can, if the app is tracking you and it says, oh, I see you're in High Point, oh, I see you're here, I'm going to send you this, Universal and what's going on at Universal Furniture. Also do some additional ways to search for keywords. Like I know that interior designers use the word sofa. Before I worked in furniture, I always called it a couch. So look at different ways that this keyword is being used. And then don't say DM me, because they can't DM you for TikTok etiquette. Don't say message me, because it's going to ding you. Like the algorithm knows that. Don't say link in bio. Don't say the link is in profile. Say, you know where to find it, or it's on the blog, or, and don't drop a link in the comment, because it just won't go through. And then just really quick, this is TikTok's version in China. So it's called Douyin. And this is what TikTok looks like in China on a laptop. And this is what TikTok is going to go to in the future. And you can already see it like happening online. And it's kind of like YouTube meets online shopping, meets Netflix, meets Amazon, meets the Food Network. So you have all these different categories that you can watch. If you look at the screen on the actual like monitor on the left-hand side, that looks an awful lot like Netflix. You'll be able to watch movies, you'll be able to watch television. And that's the end.
Oh, well, so much that we took in there. And really, there's only one more question that I wasn't able to weave in there in a nice, sweet way. So the question, unless any more questions, you can come in right now and add them, is how often do you post, Kyla?
How often do I post?
Like, how often and where? Like, as we see how you're repurposing. So what does that end up breaking down to, would you say?
I try to post 3 times a week.
Okay.
That's my goal. If I post twice a week, I post twice a week. That's a lot of things that you have to do for video content. I can't post every day, but I'm showing up consistently, and I'm showing up with quality, and I'm showing up with keywords, and I'm showing up with a strategy. So if I can post out of my content calendar 2 to 3 times a week and cross post that into my other platforms, I'm winning at that point. But it's really not that much when you think about it's 2 ideas, it's 3 ideas. Or it's 1 idea and then I break it out 3 different ways, and then I hold on to those other ideas and I push them out later on.
I have a couple of questions for you, just to kind of go through. How long does it, you walk through all of the different apps and content strategy. How long does it take you to create a video? Is there an average? I know there's different kinds of videos that you do, but I'm sure this can be overwhelming for a lot of people. And just how much time do you need to dedicate on creating this video content?
When I first started, a TikTok video would take me a full day. and it was super frustrating. And I wanted to shut down and say, I just can't. But once you start getting the video content together and you start creating this almost like library and you get it organized, you suddenly have B-roll that you can fall back on, and you suddenly know how to use Video Leap, and you're not kind of like, right. It comes like saying your ABCs. You may struggle at first, but then all of a sudden you can say them within like 2 seconds. So when I have a strategy and I know what I'm doing right now, I can like put the actual like video together, including the voiceover, in usually about an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, that's good to know too, that, you know, it might be really frustrating for people as they start off in the beginning. Don't give up, right?
Don't give up.
It gets easier as you learn the tools, as you keep doing them, you know, it'll just get easier, and that time will go down from a day to an hour and a half. So, okay, that's great.
Yeah, it takes a while to get all that filmed content. So once you film all the content, then it starts to get to be more like gravy. Like, okay, I can push through this and I can get a lot of different ideas and strategies, and I can repurpose this stuff that I filmed already into new content. So that's when I have time to write a blog post that would coincide for, you know, the boob light to go back to, you know, ceiling lighting and go, wow, I really have a strategy here.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, should I be investing my time in TikTok? You know, you mentioned that it was your bread and butter, and I'm sure a lot of people are maybe shocked, you know, to hear that. Like, how is this her bread and butter? Like, you know, how can I do that? But before that, you know, should I spend that time to invest in TikTok, where, you know, when you talked about how hard it is to get, you know, contacted by brands through TikTok, but what opportunities are you seeing so that maybe people do get motivated to say, okay, now there's opportunities out there, and this is a platform that isn't as saturated, so I can grow, you know, potentially faster. But maybe you can give us a little insight about some, you know, collaborations or just the success that you've seen.
I think when you're in a brand's face over and over and over again, you're being consistent, you're coming up with a strategy, and they're like, wow, this is fun. Like, you guys have all seen my 10 things, which blows my mind, but people have seen my 10 things. They're coming back to me. They're seeing that, wow, this is not just blowing up once, but it's blowing up over and over and over and over again. And the views are all there. Like, it's very clear when you look at Instagram or on TikTok, you can see how many views somebody has. You can see how many likes there are. And yes, on TikTok, there's that whole, or on Instagram, there's that whole, you can buy things. I don't know if you can do that on TikTok or not. Don't do that. If that's like, don't ever do that. It will mess you up like royally. Don't buy things. Don't buy things like likes. Don't buy your engagement. But brands can see that you're engaging. And TikTok for me was low-hanging fruit. When I first saw it, it was back in 2019. And I was trying to figure out how to get, there was a company that I was creating content for, they were a popcorn company. And I was like, wow, this might be an interesting place for them to live. And there was only one brand that I could find on TikTok at the time, back in 2019. And that was Chappa Chappa, the suckers. And they were basically, you know, paying creators to dance with their sucker. It was really weird. And it was kind of like this thing that they couldn't wrap their head around. But it's evolved so much, and it's evolved so quickly. And now it's becoming longer form. And I think that when you see companies like Meta, and when you see companies like YouTube, and those are two huge platforms for social media, because Meta has TikTok or Instagram and Facebook in there, they're scared and they're running to try to copy TikTok, and TikTok's kind of just doing its own thing. Like, it's like, okay, we're going to roll out with this. Okay. they are chasing some stuff like the Be Now. They have now the TikTok now. So you can do, it's going to say, what are you doing live right now? And you post it. They are chasing a few things here and there, but they are not chasing like Instagram is. And when I see that two huge platforms are looking to compete with a brand new platform, which is TikTok, I think that's really, it says a lot. And when I looked at TikTok and I see brands now emerging and they're actually having troubles on that platform because they have to go through legal review. They have to, like there's so many hoops that you have to jump through when you're a brand as far as pushing out content, and all of a sudden you miss this trend. So if you can have a content creator who knows what they're doing to be able to do it for you and then push over those followers to you, and it can happen overnight, like the antique house, the auction house that I showed, that's something that is like priceless, but it's organically obtainable.
We got one more question if you have time, Kyla. They would like to know more specifically where to store all of that B-roll. And so from what I took from you, it's just all on your camera roll, but you're creating folders. Once again, those folders, and you're labeling. And so so what happens when you run out of storage? How many terabytes are you at? Like,
so I think I have a terabyte on my phone. I did buy, this is an iPhone 11. I want to upgrade to the 14, but I do have an 11. However, I did invest in having everything go to the cloud. So I believe I have 2 or 3 terabytes on the cloud, and I have it synced where everything gets uploaded to the cloud and comes off my phone then. So I can still see it on my phone, but it has to be re-downloaded.
I think it kind of looks, I think I know what you're talking about, because I try to do that too to save space, but like they're kind of blurry when they're living on your phone. And then if you want it, like that cloud fills in and it downloads back onto your phone, but it takes that second if you did want to send something, but it's saving that space and letting your phone continue to kind of be quick. And there, you just pull them back down from the cloud, but I do not get the cloud either.
Exactly.
It needs to rain always in my cloud. It's full. All right. Well, Kyla, I think that's it for questions. Like we mentioned, super informational, so much to unpack. We will be sharing this recording of this webinar with everyone. So stay tuned for it. And we just want to thank you so much, Kyla, for everything. If you're not following her yet, you have to, especially on TikTok. And just thank you all for tuning in, and just hoping that we'll see you next Friday for our Pen Like a Pro webinar. So
I'm excited for that one.
Well, have a great weekend, everyone, and stay tuned for next week.